Hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming to dinner? Hello, Louisville. This is your host, Janice Carter Miller. And guess who's coming to dinner? This evening we are doing like a part 2 about the book United by the Alphabet that was co-authored by our guests today. They are graduates of Moore High School. We have a new guest today. Her name is Miss Traniece Williams. Hi, Traniece. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Wonderful. And back with us to help us close out this second interview is Mr. Jaden Embry. What's up, Jaden?
Hello, everybody.
Hey, all right. So everyone's in the house. Traniece, I asked the other day when I interviewed Jaden and Olivia, and they did the first half of the alphabet from the book. But tell me, what made you want to get involved with this project?
The thing that really drew my attention to the project was like the children aspect and like the group that we were targeting. Because when I was growing up, I didn't really see a lot of children's books like the ones that we created. So I thought
Okay.
it was a great idea to like start something new that I'd never seen before.
Okay. And so, what was your take on the racial component, the racism, what's going on with this in the city, how it could help in that way?
Well, with everything that had just like that was going on at that time with like Breonna Taylor and everything, I thought like this book would really like show the kids how like equality is something that's really important, and I feel like that's not really expressed at a young age, like accepting other people. So I thought that was really important to me. So like it was a huge benefit.
Yeah, because they really don't talk about civil rights or things like that in school. They don't give you any idea. Well, they don't talk about our history.
Yeah,
You know, the word history is his story. It ain't our story.
yeah.
So I think you all took a giant step in trying to bring it into the future being our story, how you see things and
Hmm.
how things really are. So, what we're going to do, Trinice, I want you to pick up from where we left off on Monday with the alphabet. You're going to start at O,
All right.
right?
Yes.
Okay, and Trinice is going to cover from O to S. And then I'm gonna tell you how tough Miss Trinice is. Trinice is on her break at work, so girlfriend is committed to take time out to do this for me, and I really appreciate that, sweetheart. I really do.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
there you go. You've got the mic. I'm gonna kind of zoom in on you and let you have the screen.
All right. All right. So for the letter O, we have the word oppression, and we just really talked about a specific character at that point in time, Mary Jackson, the first African American woman in NASA, and we talked
Hmm.
about like the oppression that she faced like during that time and like what she would have went through, and we asked the question of like, have you ever heard of the word oppression? Um, Moving on to a letter N, I mean P. I'm sorry. We chose the word pronoun, and um, right here we really talked about like transgender, like gays and stuff, like using a different pronoun than she or her if you were born as a female. And we asked the kids like, do you know the importance of the pronoun, and like making sure they knew what a pronoun was and what it actually stood for. Um, Moving on to Q, we used two words. We had quest and questions. Um,
Okay.
it said the four kids felt like they were on a quest and they had questions for each other because they were really taking a tour around the Louisville city and like looking at different nonprofit things. But the questions that we ask are, what is a quest you've been on, and do you have any questions for your friends? Because they had questions about their differences, because we have a Muslim, a mixed biracial, and a trans person in our book, so they had questions for each other.
Hmm.
um, Moving on to R, we chose the word reflected. um, so right here we really talked about how the kids, like after everything had happened, they sat down and they reflected on everything they had done during the day, and how they like embraced each other's differences at that moment. And then we asked them, we said time to reflect, and we asked why diversity is important, because that's what we had talked about earlier in the book. So we wanted the kids to like remember, not just, we wanted them to leave knowing what they were talking about. And then lastly, for S, we have the word support. Here we have Grace said she wanted to draw a mural to represent all the history and cultures they learned about today. She wanted to support all of her new friends and wanted others to see their community. And the question we asked was, who supports you? Um, and at this moment in the book, we really just wanted all the kids to feel together and not separate from each other. So they wanted to, like, they were just embracing their differences at that point in time.
Okay. What I want to do is, are you in school now? You're a graduate as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you in school?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you go?
I went to the University of Louisville for my first semester, and now I'm going to Galen Nursing School.
Oh, you're going to nursing school. Oh, you're going to be a frontline worker.
Mm-hmm.
Essential.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
what they call essential workers? So, how do you feel about that the vaccine has rolled out? Are you feeling positive about that?
I feel positive about the vaccine. I feel negative about the way that they administered the vaccine, because they gave it to our frontline healthcare workers first, and we don't really know anything about this vaccine. I don't know if it's safe. So you're gonna take the people that are taking care of our sick people and make them sick with this vaccine if it's not okay.
Okay. Well, this vaccine, the first one that they rolled out, I think they said that they're not actually giving you the virus.
Hmm.
It's supposed to be a protective to keep you from getting infected. See, sometimes like colds and flus, they actually give us the virus.
Yeah.
This is, I don't think they do that with this vaccine. But I can see, I hadn't thought about it in that way that you looked at it. Well, do somebody else first, because then you're gonna need the front line people to take care of people if they
Yeah.
get sick. Yeah. Wow. Well, you're gonna have a role to play in all of that. So how much more time do you have in nursing school?
I have 3 more years.
3 more years.
Yes, ma'am. But I'm gonna start working at a hospital, so I can still like get the experience as a nursing aide.
Oh, that's wonderful. You're gonna do that here in the city?
Yes, ma'am. I'm probably gonna work for Norton, the women and children.
All right. Well, Miss Trinice, it was my pleasure to meet you. And hopefully when we get ready to go on network television locally here in the city, I can invite you. We'll have dinner. This was supposed to be a conversation had over dinner. That's why it's called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I guess you said, I don't know why it's called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. And there's no food involved. There will be food involved eventually.
Okay.
But we want to say thank you for your time. And you can go back to work and you take care of yourself. And good luck with the nursing.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself. Over there get some of them wings. My husband talking about coming to get some of them wings, girl. All right. All right. Now we're back to Jaden. Jaden's going to pick up the alphabet where she stopped. She stopped at S. Okay. We're going to finish out the
Yes,
alphabet
ma'am.
for United by the Alphabet.
So the next letter is T, and we chose the word tease. Now, at this point of the story, every story has to have an antagonist, the bad character. So I'll show the little picture. For our antagonist, we chose ooh, this character
Yeah.
called Billy the Bully. He's over there, and he's just
What's the word, though?
tease.
Tease. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So we
Okay.
asked
Like
the
bullies tease
children,
you. Okay. I
yes,
just wanted to be sure.
how do you feel when people tease you? Because there's always those people out there that say those negative comments and words to try to hurt you because they're scared of diversity. They've never seen it before. So we had to
Hmm.
make sure that situations like this come up in the story so kids know how to deal with those situations when they do come up in their everyday life.
Okay.
And then after the letter T is U, and we chose the word unite. Now, our main character, Grace, she holds the group together. She was the bigger person. So she tried everything in her power to unite the group and bring in the bully and try to, resolve the problem.
Right.
So our next letter is we chose two letters for you. The next word is uncomfortable. Billy expressed how, he was just uncomfortable. He's never been around people different from him. He's never had to talk to people like that before. So it's just an uncomfortable situation for him. And we tried to let the kids understand that it's okay to be uncomfortable as long as you learn while
What color?
you're
What color is
in that
Billy?
stage. Billy's Caucasian. He's white.
Okay. So Billy's a white kid that you're saying more or less he'd never been around black kids or Muslim kids or biracial kids. He
Yes,
hadn't been
ma'am.
exposed to that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then the next letter, V, we chose the word valued. And the question for that is how do you make people feel valued? It's very important that everyone knows their worth and know that they're valued by their loved ones and their family and their community. We shouldn't be putting down people. We should be uplifting everyone. So,
Right.
like I said earlier, Grace, our main character, that's her superpower. She's showing diversity and showing that everyone is valued. So she's showing that to Billy and letting him know that even he's valued and he needs to value everyone else as well around him.
So Grace, what race is Grace? What
Grace
race is
is
Grace?
she is African American. She's right there. Oh, there she
Strong
is.
black sister, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
I guess I could show everyone while I'm
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
here. This is Grace, and this
Okay.
is Nala, the Muslim character. This is Philip. He is the transgender character. This
Okay.
is Alex. She's biracial, and Abdi. He's not in this page, but he was the African character we had that immigrated to
Okay.
America.
Okay.
The next,
So
yes, ma'am.
you all had to you developed Grace's characteristics in
Yes,
order to make her the center piece. What were
yes,
her some
ma'am.
of her characteristics?
Grace characteristics, she is just supposed to be that strong central because Grace really is the tour guide that we like to say. She's a tour guide for the children. She's
Okay.
taking all these characters and the readers through the community, through all these nonprofits and diversity, showing them the beauty of the world.
Mhm.
And it's her job to make sure that kids know that everyone's beautiful. Your skin color is beautiful, your hair is beautiful, and you should know that you're valued by people
Right.
that look like you and that people that don't look like you should value you as well.
And that they have value as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay. Oh, Grace was tough. Oh.
hmm It she gets sh- it gets a little. I guess you could say it gets a little better as the story goes on. We're almost there.
Okay.
The next letter is W, and we chose the word welcoming. As I stated, Grace is just that centerfold character, welcoming everyone into the
Okay.
group,
We
making them
we
feel
skipped
valued.
V.
Did we? Oh, did I? I was valued, and I don't know if I said it. I honestly
Say it again
forgot.
for me, because I don't. I did. I missed the value.
Valued. Then the
Okay.
question for that is how do you make other people feel valued?
Okay.
And then W is for welcoming and how you make other people feel welcomed and where do you feel welcomed?
Right. Okay.
And the next letter is X, and we chose the word xenophobia.
Oh.
And that was a very important word to include in here because xenophobia just means, afraid of things that are different. And
Right.
in our glossary for children that don't know what this word means, it will be defined for them. And they can take that word and think about anyone or themselves, really, if there's been any xenophobia in their own lives, they can reflect
Mhm.
on that.
Mhm.
And then Z, we chose the word zeal. Oh, I skipped. Y, we chose the word youth for why
Okay.
because we believe, like we said in the interview with Olivia, honestly, change starts with the youth, the young people. If we can instill in them the values and ideologies of inclusion and intersectionality, then those bridges can be built to where we can hopefully, end racism and just negativity when we
Right.
instill these values in youth today. And then Z is zeal. That's the word we chose because having a zeal to just be inclusive and be positive, everyone needs that energy in them. It's
Hmm.
it's not easy. It's not easy to do that walking around in your everyday life and having to deal with all the negativity and being uncomfortable and self-actualizing your own feelings. It's not easy. So having the zeal to do things like that is very
Hmm.
important. And then that's all the letters of the book.
Well, that was wonderful. So now you all, what your teacher had to find you a publisher to do this. Was it published here in Louisville or out of state?
Yes, ma'am. It was published in Louisville
Okay,
by, it's in here somewhere.
maybe in the front. Because this was I mean, this was an endeavor that you all started at one point with the concept, and then the concept became a reality with this book.
Yes, ma'am.
You
It
know,
was
and go on.
it was Digital Promotions. I'm sorry, that's the name of the company that did this book, Digital Promotions. Yeah,
Okay,
it started as a full concept. Honestly, the original plan was to make a book like a whole educational like experience. It came with like cards and activities that would be used in the classroom.
right.
But we tried to make it at home friendly as well and just,
Okay. And so the
try,
book was the most logical kind of conclusion that you came to, that that's how it at home friendly instead of just in the classroom.
yes,
You know,
ma'am.
because I think every household should have that book.
It
You know,
even comes in Spanish. It's bilingual as
oh,
well.
wonderful. That's
Hmm.
wonderful. I just think, we have to have some tools at home. There used to be a point in time, I know my growing up is totally different from your growing up. That there were things, common sense things that we learned, that we were taught from what was then an extended family. We had you had your mother, then you had her mother, people that were still older generation, still living, and sometimes within the same households, that had um, values and mores that we had to follow. Like I stayed with a relative that I called my dear because I didn't my grandparents were all deceased. But I called her my dear. My dear took me to church. I stayed to Sunday school, morning service, BTU, and late night service. Every Sunday I stayed all day with my Madia. And that's what you did. You went to church, and after morning service we went to her mother's house for dinner, and everybody always stayed together. And then we all went back to church. You could see, look like a little F troop walking up Chestnut Street. But these were all, but it got to a point, I think, because church seemed to be not so important at a point in time in our culture, even though it was still important in our culture, that um, the younger generations did not approach church like older generations did. Does that make sense to you? They didn't
100%.
they didn't have to go to church. They weren't made to go to church. I didn't have a choice. I didn't get to say, "Well, I'm not going today. I don't want to go." No, it's not what you want to do, it's what you're gonna do. So a younger generation seemed to get away with not wanting to do something and being given permission not to do it. Because even if my mother couldn't go to church because she worked, didn't mean I didn't have to go. Somebody was taking me. And when I got to a certain age, my brother and I, we went to church on our own. But my mother made sure that we got up and went to church. So things like that whole kind of bond that you learn so many nuances about your culture. Like, you have family reunions?
Yes, ma'am.
And don't you learn a whole lot about your family at family reunions? It's amazing.
You
And
just sit
even
back and watch it all
yeah,
unfold.
yeah, and hear the stories as they go back, and the elders talk about their parents and where they came from, or if they migrated to Louisville. See, my family, my father's family was from here, but my mother's family migrated here from Mississippi. So then we go back, and then we even have a reunion in Mississippi where we got to go to the farm where my mother was raised. So all those types of things are, we don't have as much of that as we used to have. We're trying to keep that bond together with family reunions, which is I think it's a must. I think every family should do family reunions. We do ours every year. I think uh well, we missed this year, but this would have been our 45th. We've been doing our family reunions for 45 years. I mean, not skip a year, no, every year. And we go to a different city in a different state every year. And whoever lives in that state, they have to put it on. But those family reunions have a lot to do with passing down, um, like I said, our mores and our principles, and what our family stands for, and how we and what your legacy is. You find out what your legacy is. You go there and you meet your relatives that are doing something on an upper level. You find out. I found out I had a relative that's in the music business, in the hip hop business. We thought he was going to come to Louisville, and he was working with somebody, and we were looking for him to come into Louisville. And the kids were really excited about that. But it's just a lot of things that family can do to help you keep the family close knit and united. But this book is a wonderful thing to have, to keep to teach children about uniting with the rest of the world.
I feel like
Be-
this book will also help facilitate parents with having those tough conversations because it might just make it easier to share these concepts through a children's book with friendly language instead of
Right,
having to sit down and really have that conversation with your child and get them to understand what's going on in the world and they can see it through their eyes in
right.
a way.
Trying to find a way to explain it to them. You've given them
Yeah.
a tool to work with. Well, that's wonderful. Well, Jaden, I want to thank you for coming back in and helping facilitate the rest of United by the Alphabet. And I want you to have a joyous Merry Christmas, and stay masked up, stay safe, and we'll
Hmm.
stay in touch. Okay?
Thank you. You too.
Oh,
Have happy holidays.
thank you, sweetheart. Take care of yourself.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right. We finished up United by the Alphabet by graduates of Moore High School that put this book together. And like I said, it's a book that needs to be in every home. It's on sale at Carmichael's bookstore. That's where you can pick it up. And if it's something that you think your child needs, it doesn't seem to matter what grade they're in. They need this book, and you need to just go through it with them, and every word, and so they can take that word with the understanding how it has a place in the world today that they live in. So on that note, I'm going to say it's Wednesday. We'll see you back here Friday. Next week is Christmas. Haven't figured out exactly what we're going to do for Christmas week, but hope everyone is staying safe. Uh, Mask up. Put your mask on. Doesn't hurt a thing. Put your mask on. Save somebody else's life. You might save yours. On that note, on behalf of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, it's almost 7 o'clock. No, it's just now 6:30. Well, we did a quick one today. It's dinner time somewhere. So guess who's coming to dinner? Bon appetit. See you next time.